All right, welcome back to Living Our American Dream, everybody. It's been a little while since I did a long form video, but today this video is going to serve two purposes actually. First, as you may or may not know, in the end of March 2025, like the 29th, 30th, Michigan, where I live here, had some pretty significant storms. Up north, we had a significant ice storm, and in my area, we had some pretty heavy straight line winds and rain. And I'm standing in front of a house behind me. A friend of the family had some damage to their house. Ironically enough, they were all the way in Florida and found out after the storm that they had a large oak tree fall on their house and several other ones in the yard. So today's video, we're gonna take some insurance evidence for them so that they have some, I guess, video evidence as we get this cleaned up. And also I'm gonna bring it to you guys for your entertainment. So I hope you enjoy this video. Let's go take a quick walk around and do an assessment before we get started. All right, so first things first, this is probably the biggest piece of damage here. This is Greg's house, and you can see to my left, that's Greg standing there by the trunk of the tree. And this thing literally just kind of broke off at the ground level in the straight line winds. I shouldn't say straight line winds. That could be a tornadic activity for all I know. I'm not an expert, but in the wind, the tree fell down onto his house. So the damage from this side, you can see it went right into the top of his garage. We can walk into the garage here, take a peek at this. He did have some things in here, and I'm not sure what all got damaged inside, but you can see from the inside of the garage, we can see out. And we did an assessment inside the attic of the garage, and you can see the trunk of that tree runs right through there, and it's busted pretty much all of these trusses. Coming around the side of the garage, you can see this is where this tree broke off at, right at ground level, which is a little different than normal. Normally you see these uproot, but this one didn't uproot. It broke right off at ground level. I'm just gonna walk around here. I think I know why. If this was to uproot, it would have had to have been tangled with the roots of these other two trees next to it. And those ones don't seem to have moved. But this tree here definitely snapped off. You can also see what's here is a limb off of this tree, which I can show where that came off. Right here. So we got that going on. I'm just gonna walk around back right here. I know this is this first part of the video is a lot of assessment. Again, mainly because I think Greg's gonna use this video as evidence for his insurance company. They're gonna want this information. Additionally, if I turn over to the right, you'll see some of the other tree or trees that are down, quite extensive in the yard. Which there's not a lot of damage in the yard, obviously, but over here at his pole barn, you can see the barn has a tree laying on it. Pretty good damage here. And if I turn here, you can see both of these trees. This one snapped and went to the pole barn, this one snapped and went into the yard. So there is a little bit more damage on the pole barn that I want to show you guys, but they're starting this first lift, so I'm going to capture some of this activity right here as they get the crane started. You can see we hired a portable crane service. I don't know where they're out of. I didn't make the arrangements, but nonetheless, they're here. No need for a ladder. So obviously with the tree being as large and with limbs like it has, the plan is to send this fella up here and trim the ends of these limbs off, and I'm assuming we're going to take the limbs right off back to the trunk.
back here a little bit.
All right, I stepped away while the crane's working over there to get some of the limbs cleaned up on the house tree. I wanted to also capture the side of the pole barn here that, you know, I've always thought when I built my barn that as many screws that go in these things, it sure be awful hard to rip these off. But man, these things peeled right off here, so definitely some damage on the siding here. And I'm told, oh yeah, there it is. There's a greenhouse back here that also had some damage. Go check this out. Yeah, I don't know too much about this little structure here, but it looked like it used to be a greenhouse here. Thankfully, this one didn't get knocked over. Now here's the next large limb flying off the house here. Slowly but surely. Just a quick shout out to the folks that are helping us out here. So we've got a portable crane service, and we've also got Trim Beach tree service. There's his information. So good crews here. Yep, I caught myself out of position here a little bit, but basically coming back to this other side back here, we elected to get this giant limb out of the way first. Again, to minimize the damage as we take the big one out. This is a good view of the hole that this big one put in the house here.
He's gonna try, but you guys need to push it.
Just another view from the back side here. We got a lot of sun glare right here, but I want to catch all the angles of this house and the damage here. So a little closer than I wanted to be here. Not because I'm in danger, but because I wanted to give you guys a better view.
Nope.
Yeah, so this is pretty neat here.
Here, put those pieces over there.
Oh, honey.
We didn't see.
Honeycombs. Big old honey tree. Oh, yeah, lots of it.
You want to take?
Oh, my God, man.
I want a piece out of here if you don't mind.
I'll take the small one. I'll take the small one. Yeah.
Put this
I'll
over
put all this somewhere. Put them by the. Damn, they're heavy, man.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say they're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll grab a piece of that too before I take off. Yep.
I wanted to just come show this this honey again. This is pretty neat. Now, I just talked to the homeowner, Greg, and he told me that through knowledge of himself and the previous owner, that there has been a beehive in this tree for 60 years, 6-0. So this is a pretty extensive hive. I don't see any bees act like here. Normally they would be dormant here, but all the honey is here. This entire thing is just full of honey. So knowing that we don't have a choice but to demolish this tree, we're trying to salvage as much as we can. Some of the crew here is going to take some, but that's a pretty neat thing. Actually, standing right here, you can hear me sniff. I can smell the honey, man. It smells really good. So we've got the skid steer hooked up to this tree just to keep it from falling into the building here. Looks like the crane guy is going to wrap up. So this is the other tree that the limb fell out of. It was one of the limbs on the house. It was a big one. So we're going to go ahead and take this tree down too so it doesn't cause any further damage in the future. Able to grab the top of this tree right here that was on top of the barn. What we did is make a cut right here, and the excavator was able to hold that in place, swing that whole thing out of the way. I didn't get the video because I was helping, but basically we salvaged that door there, luckily. Start working on patching up this rooftop. Good over here for now.
One of the things that we might want to do first
So we got most of the brush cleaned up. We got a whole bunch of wood and firewood left over. I don't know. We're not going to deal with that today. We just wanted to get some of this stuff cleaned up. And the main thing here this afternoon, now that it's after lunchtime, is to get this house patched up. And you can see we got some lumber sitting over here on the inside. That clip that I just took, you guys saw pulling some of the insulation out. It's a little sketchy up there because the only thing that's left on the trusses is the bottom cord of the trusses. Now the structure and the strength from a truss has to do with that zigzag build on the inside. And as you can see from right here where that tree fell through there, it basically knocked everything out of there. So when you stand up in there, that top, or I should say the bottom cord of the truss is the only thing that's holding some of that, and it's really spongy. So we're trying to take some of the weight out of there. The insulation's all wet from the rain, and the drywall, trying to get that all out of there so that we can basically temporarily frame up over the top and get some tarps over this. So again, the reason that everybody jumped over here and is doing this for Greg today is just because tomorrow we're supposed to get like 2 inches of rain, and gosh, that would make even bigger mess. So I know insurance companies like to come out and assess things themselves, but if we waited for that, he might have very extensive water damage. So hopefully this video suffices. Now we're gonna do a little fun test. Mr. Mike Drimby here was telling me about his machine here, the chipper, and what it's capable of. And we're gonna grab one of these big logs right here and see if we can run it through the chipper. Supposedly it'll eat it right up. Let's see how it does. All right, so it's been an hour or so since I took any video clips, but now you can see we're putting up some flat 2x4s, tying them into the existing truss system. This is not intended to be structural in any way. The only intent is to be able to put a tarp over the top of all of this just to keep the rain out of that hole. Now let's walk around the back side. You're gonna see the same thing happening. Now this entire roof on the garage and this back bedroom, this right here, is gonna have to all be taken off because it's all damaged. You see in the video clip on the interior, all of the structure of those trusses, the zigzag portion was all just completely wiped out by that tree trunk that crashed through there. All right, one more view. This is where the tree trunk was at. And again, it did not uproot, it just broke right off at the bottom, right at ground level. Crashed into the house here. But I want to show you guys what happened on this brick wall. So the force of that tree came down here. If I get in here close enough, you'll be able to see that the cracking occurred from this corner all the way down. Let's zoom in here real quick so you can see. Right there. Cracking quite a ways down. Probably at least down into here at an angle. The other side also zigzagged down this way towards that window. So probably some repairs need made there as well.
Yeah, my daughter, you know how your kids can talk to you anything. She lives in Marshall Crossings and she wanted chickens. So she goes and buys 12 chickens and she's like, hey Richard, Would you do an old man a favor? See if there's one more of them waters in there and throw it up or bring it up with you.
I know there's a few cases.
I hate to bother you, but it sure feels good.
All right, so here's the plan. You saw the 2x4s braced in there, some OSB just to cover up the holes. You can do the same thing on this side and then tarp the top to keep the rain out of here.
There's some shingles down there on the ground. All right, guys. Go up.
All right, well, it may not be the prettiest job in the world, but like I said when we started this video, the intention was to just get this stuff up here to seal this roof up before the rains come. So last thing to do is right here, they're gonna throw a couple sheets of OSB board on there just to seal up that end. And obviously this, Greg's gonna be in touch with his homeowner's insurance, get this all squared away. So a lot of work to do still, but at least I think we're sealed up for the storms tomorrow. So I think that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys joining us and watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.